Hey everyone, Techni here with the keyboard review, and today we have the Ducky and Varmillo. I don't know, I guess they work together on this. I'm not too sure, I don't know much about Varmillo. I looked online and it looks like they both kind of make the same boards, or maybe Varmillo makes the Duck. I don't know. But anyways, they worked on this one together, as you can see right there. And we have the MIYA Pro. I have the rainbow version here with Cherry MX Reds, and it has the white LEDs. Let's take a look at it real quick. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, what did you guys think about those close-ups right there? I'm telling you what, this board is absolutely gorgeous. You know, I got the white version here because I thought it'd be so crisp. I wasn't very fond of the multicolored keycaps, the rainbow colored keycaps, when I was looking at it online. But honestly, when you get it here in person, it is just, it's so crisp. I don't know if you guys could see it in the camera that well. Let me bring you in and show you these keycaps again. So it's kind of like you got that RGB fade look, but it's just printed right on it, right? And then you also have it on the spacebar right down there with the waves. I mean, it looks so good, and the colors are so crisp. It's just, it is perfect. All right, so let's start off with what you get in your box. And by the way, the box is just, I don't know. I just think the box is really cool. It looks really awesome right there. And it's pretty thing is sturdy. I don't know. I just think the box looks cool, but whatever. Anyways, inside, you're going to get the keyboard. You get a little kind of like a shortcut guide right here. And I recommend you holding on. There's a couple helpful tips in there. Get a little keycap puller, one of these little metal guys. And then over here, they give you a different escape key, if you can see right there. Pretty cool. It's got the rainbow effect. Kind of looks like what's on the spacebar right there. And of course, you get the USB cable, which we have connected right here. Now, as far as the keycaps right here, they use PBT keycaps. I'm not sure how well you guys will be able to pick that up right there. But the top feels a little bit more textured than the sides. And it's honestly a really, really nice texture right there. As far as wear, I don't know. Again, it doesn't just look like some sprayed on keycap by any means. But again, the top has a really nice texture and it feels very nice on the hands. Alright, now I'm going to do this a little bit different than the majority of my keyboard reviews here. And I want to start off with the sound test here because honestly, this keyboard sounds absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best sounding keyboard I have used to date. And that's kind of what drove me to purchasing this keyboard, by the way. It's the Ducky 1-2 Mini. I used that one. I wasn't the 60%. I kind of like the 70% here where you got your shortcuts and your arrows and whatnot, you know what I mean? But the Ducky, it just sounded so fantastic. It felt great. Again, I'm using Cherry MX Reds, even on Ducky 1-2 Mini. And right here we have Cherry MX Reds. And it's just let me hush and give you the sound test real quick. You guys are about 3 feet from the mic right here. And here we go. Now, as far as that sound test that we just did right there, I absolutely love it. Again, probably the best sounding keyboard I have used yet to date. But again, I know it's not for everybody. A lot of people like a little more tactile, a little more clicky sound. And this is almost like membrane-ish, but with a mechanical feel, if that makes sense. Good night, just even typing on this thing just sends the shivers up my hands right here all the way through my arms. All right. Enough of that sound test. I can sit here all day and type on this thing, right? But anyways, let's go on and get into the build. And let me tell you, first off, this guy has some weight to it, like some serious weight, much more than the Ducky. I'd say almost a whole nother Ducky on top of it almost. I mean, this sucker is lofty here. And now it feels like it's built very well also. As you can see right here on these sides, it's complete big, thick plastic. You can see how thick the plastic is right there, actually. But it's one piece, and then it kind of goes into the bottom deal right there. And speaking of the bottom, as you can see, you have your rubber feet right on the bottom, and your feet pop out right there with rubber grips on it. But again, you have your rubber grips right there, and then on the side. And this is kind of, it's not a very hard rubber grip. Speaking of that, like a lot of the boards we test, it's really soft, kind of smushy grip. And this thing does not, like, you can't get it to budge at all. But anyways, as far as that base build right there, this thing is solid. Again, no flex whatsoever. You have a metal plate underneath the keys. The larger keys use the Mach switches right there to stabilize them really well. I mean, this thing just feels incredibly solid. All right, now I'm making this thing sound darn near perfect, right? And I honestly wanted it to be. I really, really did. But there are a few faults. Now, real quick, as I'm going over these few faults right here, I don't know if they really affect the keyboard, like they're saying, oh, hey, the keyboard's garbage because of them. Maybe they might be a little more personal preference. I feel like two things that I'm going to mention will be faulting the keyboard, and some of the other ones may just be personal preference. I don't know. Let's just feel them out. But anyways, number one, again, it connects by USB right here. Really thick USB cable, by the way. And you connect it right here on the back right-hand side. And it barely, I don't want to say barely, you feel it going a little bit here, but it's a lot of give. There's a lot of give, and it just feels like it doesn't go in very far, you know? I know it's never popped out on me or anything, but still, there's so much give, and it really barely goes in there, and you don't feel it really kind of clasp onto anything. So that's kind of feels, for this price point, that's a little cheesy in my opinion. Now this one, I think, might be personal preference right here. And the USB is on the right side of the keyboard. That's just crazy. I don't know. Every single keyboard I've reviewed, it's either been in the middle or the left-hand side. This is the first one I've ever used that's on the right-hand side. And for me, it's not doable. It really isn't, because my desk is set up, right? My mouse is on the right-hand side. I take my keyboard and I cock it to the side a little bit, and then I get to playing. So now I got this big old chunky USB here. I got to try to tuck around and hide and flip around everything, you know? So that was a very, very big downfall for me with the USB being on the right side. Now, the one other thing I think is a big fault on the keyboard here, and that, as you all noticed, that the LED in it is all white. And by the way, while I'm talking about that, it is a crisp white. It's not like that bluish or light bluish tint of white that we see all the time in keyboards, right? It is just a solid, crisp white, and it really looks good. But anyways, what I was going to talk about bad about it is the caps button right here. So if you have your RGB on and just going, like I leave mine on a solid bright white right there, but then you can't tell when the cap lock is on. So you got to kind of turn the brightness down, right? And then you can finally, if you can barely see that right there, and then you can see your cap locks on. So again, if you have the RGB on, there's no way to tell the cap lock's on. I wish it just kind of had a couple of dots over here with the LED notification of your cap locks, num locks, and all that stuff right there, or your Windows key lock, so you can actually notice it. But again, with the LED on, you can never tell. Now this next fault, I think maybe a little more personal preference, and I'm not sure how well you guys can pick it up on camera, but if you catch that bottom row and then follow it up to the other rows up there, the bottom row sits a little bit lower, and you see that first step right there is quite big. So honestly, whenever I was playing, I felt like I had to kind of raise my hand up to get up and over it, you know what I mean? It was very uncomfortable, actually. Again, I felt like I had to lift my hand up over. Maybe if you had a wrist rest, you know, to raise it up, it might work out a little bit better. I don't like using wrist rests on my desk. I don't have that much space to spare, you know what I mean? But I think that would probably balance it out. But anyway, straight out the box, I really didn't like it. And also, speaking about the bottom row being lower, whenever you press the space bar down, as you see it goes down into the housing there, you feel your thumb hitting the frame right there as well. Which was, again, as minor as it sounds, it really started to annoy the heck out of me because I felt like I was down here hitting another key. So I caught myself kind of watching where I was pressing, which again, kind of ruin the experience, you know? Now, I know a lot of those faults kind of sound like personal preference, or maybe me just whining or something. I don't know. But the wire being on the right side, the cap locks, and then the shape. But again, when you're in this price range, 110 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever it may be, you know, you want it to be perfect for your experience, your playtime, or whatever you're using it for, right? And those couple of faults on it right there really drove me nuts, and I just wanted to box this thing right back up. It really drove me nuts. But again, sure, they could be personal preference. So all in all, my take on the Ducky and Varmillo, I guess, collaboration MIYA Pro gaming keyboard here, it broke my heart. It really did. And I know that sounds cheesy, but I was looking so forward to this keyboard. I really was. And those couple of faults right there just I don't know, they were really a hit in the gut for me because, again, I wanted to love this keyboard. I love the Ducky so much, but I wanted to get away from the 60% just because it's hard to use for every day. So the 70% build here is honestly my new favorite. Even over 10 keyless or the 60%. I like this, I don't know what we call this, 70%, whatever, where you have your shortcuts and your arrows, you know. This is my new favorite build style right here. It's nice and compact, but it's still easy to use for gaming or every day, right? And again, I thought this keyboard was going to be a perfect fit. And I wanted it to be a perfect fit because at that price range, it's not too bad. And there's so many great things about it. But there's also so many bad things about it, for me at least. Again, going back to personal preference. And again, it really upset me because I wanted to love it. The sound, the feel is perfect. It's just, there's so many great things about it. But again, like I said, there's so many things that I personally don't like about it. So hey, please do let me know down in the comments, do you use the MIYA Pro right here? And let me know what you think about it. I'm really curious because, again, I think the faults in it, minus the two right there, are a lot of personal preference. Please do let me know down in the comments what you think about it and what you think about the MIYA if you use it, you know, or if you plan on picking it up. Again, it's so hard. I gotta put it right there that maybe you just need to try it by yourself and judge it because some of the things may just be personal preference. But hey, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this one. I highly appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for some future tech videos. And I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.